Welcome back to Your 1230, the only podcast where our guests tell their story with the help of 12 questions in just 30 minutes. I'm your host, Mike Salitro, and today we are really excited to be speaking with Adrian Smude. Adrian got his start in real estate in 2002 when he was evicted, which led him to become a landlord. After 11 years of being a hobby landlord, he discovered his passion for real estate investing by attending an investor meeting. He tapped into the untapped gold mine of mobile homes and has since been following that path. He is a member of 3 mastermind groups, including a high level mastermind, which he hosts. He's the author of the best selling book, How to Buy Mobile Homes, and he travels the country teaching and sharing his secret for success. Adrian, welcome. We're really excited to be speaking with you.
Appreciate you having me, Mike. I'm
Of
excited to
course.
be here.
Of course. So we want to go back to the beginning there. It mentions an eviction and becoming a landlord. Those two things generally don't go hand in hand. So how did that happen?
Yeah, I have a fun start to my real estate career. Basically, I was renting a house with my friends. My friends and I were renting, and we were your terrible tenants. We had parties and not the common parties. Actually, no drinking was involved in these parties for our side, but we had spaghetti wrestling parties, mud wrestling parties, pudding wrestling parties, and we even had an eviction that was for parking a motorcycle in the living room. And eventually we got tired of being evicted. And I'm a problem solver. Like I really think we are as real estate investors. So I bought a house, moved all my friends in, and I divided my mortgage up amongst my friends. So at 20 years old, I was living for free and not with mom and dad, which was really cool. And then I eventually bought another house. The second house didn't work out so well. I only understood what the bank said. They said real estate goes straight up. You'll refinance in a few years. You're going to lose a little bit every month until then. This is about the 2008 time is whenever I end up needing to refinance. You know the story. It went down in value. My adjustable rate mortgage started losing even more money every month. So the second one didn't work out so well, but luckily I didn't give up.
Was there any hesitation to move said friends in, even at 20 years old, with such activities as spaghetti wrestling and motorcycles in living room? Did you think about it? This might not work out, or was it this is going to be just fine?
No, I wasn't smart enough to think it wouldn't work out. And we are still friends today. I was just as guilty, except for the motorcycle part. And I thought that was funny. But I did quickly learn, like, I understand why the landlord was upset with us. It's not that I ever thought he was a jerk, but yeah, I had to start getting strict with my friends, which is not the most comfortable thing. You don't want to tell your friends, hey, clean up, don't do that.
But more seriously, you hit on something really interesting. 20 years old, living rent free, entrepreneurial in kind of action here to divvy up the rooms or the living quarters in a home to have the mortgage paid off by tenants, also your friends. Did you model that after anybody? Did you just kind of fall into it? How did that work out so well?
Yeah, I did model it. I had a family member that had some houses very similar. He was doing it in areas of college. So he was kind of doing the college roommate situations. I did look in the college area. So I'm in Central Florida. Plant City is where I grew up, and this was all in the Brandon area. But Tampa has USF, a big college. And at that time, the areas were not good. They were either like really nice and we weren't going to live there, or really crummy and we didn't feel safe. So I ended up somewhere closer to like this Brandon is a suburb of Tampa. And that's just how I did. So I did model my family member, but eh, I don't know. I didn't have. I think I didn't have a limiting belief. Is really what it was. Like, oh, this won't work out, and I didn't just think, oh, what if this doesn't work? I think I was almost naive a little bit, which helped me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably the perfect word for it. That is like this is gonna work out just fine. We've got this common interest. Everyone has enough money to pay month to month. This is gonna work out just fine. And it did. Um, but kind of fast forwarding ahead because I'm really interested to get into this. How did you how did you determine mobile homes were the right niche to focus on, and how was what was that first transaction interaction? What did that look like?
Well, I got to the mobile homes because of a few key pieces. Remember, I told you that second house I bought was a short sale.
Yes.
fast forward to, I don't know, maybe it was about 10 years later, a little less than that. I thought we were at the top of the market. So, like today, when we're recording this is like 7, 8 years ago. So, I have been extremely wrong. But that short sale, like, was just in the back of my mind. I didn't want to be wrong again. I want to compromise my integrity and not pay my bills again. So, that's what led me to search for something different. And I started talking to the wise, gray haired, if they have hair at all, investor. So the people that have been in the business longer than me, like longer than I've been alive, is what I mean. And they mentioned mobile homes. I started hearing about it. And so then, all right, well, I got a lead for a mobile home. I went out and looked at it. But why did I pull the trigger on it? Now, this was a 1965 single wide on 0.09 acres. It was not a pretty item. But I was at that point in my career, my life, I was uncomfortable being comfortable. I lived in a nice house. I had a decent job, but I just wanted more. I couldn't have put in words at that point. But now I know I want freedom of time and freedom to be where I want, with who I want, whenever I want, and the ability to travel and help more people. And that's why I took the risk. I bought it with the last of my cash. My plan that I did not tell my wife was we were either going to make it or I was going to get this splat moment of all these successful people I'd studied had this like splat. They had this big bad story. I was like, I don't have one of those. So either I'm going to accelerate that or we're going to do good. And we did good.
Okay. I wrote down a few things because I want to follow up on a couple of interesting things you said. The first, I want to point out that we both kind of chuckled with thinking 7, 8 years ago was the top of the market. Ha ha ha. Look at it in retrospect. While we can kind of look back and laugh, that's really insightful because today, anybody who tells you for certain this is true as top of the market, good time to buy, good time to sell, this is this kind of market, it's at best a best guess, if not just who knows. So looking back, it's easy to say, yeah, what a mistake that was. But in the moment, that's one of those things that, if not impossible, pretty close. I also put down here uncomfortable with being comfortable. Would you say that was a fair, going back to in the moment, would you say that was a fair assessment in the moment, or again looking back that you need to change for the sake of change?
No, I understood then that I wasn't taking action because I was comfortable. I did understand that. So I did something. I think it's only this time of my life I focused on negative, and because I've been pretty positive and I do a lot of positive mental work, but I focused on like, all right, if I don't do anything, what does life look like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? I don't remember where I got that strategy from, but that's what built up some of this like I unhappy, the uncomfortable being comfortable, like just almost resentment of the future, what it could be. And that's what made me uncomfortable enough to take action because I wasn't taking enough action, is really what was going on.
Okay. I like that answer. And getting back to the specifics of the mobile home deal, was there a tenant involved? Was the idea to resell? What was the plan there?
It was to buy it and rent it or possibly sell it on owner financing. Those are like the two big strategies with those older ones. And the problems that were solved is the broker that ended up bringing it to me, he didn't want any commission on that, the real estate agent. He needed that gone so that they could buy their new property that he was getting a good commission on. Uh, so they were moving out of it, and we bought it, put a little bit of money, made some mistakes for sure because I didn't have any good training on it. And then I eventually put a tenant in there. I said it was about 16,000 what we purchased it for. Let's just round up and say we have 20 in it between some mistakes and everything. I put a tenant in there for 475 a month. And those numbers, yeah, you don't need a calculator to figure out. Today, it's rented, I think, at 720 a month. And we haven't put a ton of money into it. So it's making good money. That's what got me addicted to them.
So I'll talk with investors fairly regularly here. Real estate is my background as well. So we'll talk different geographies, property types, asset classes. I find that investors who are drawn to mobile homes or have that as part of their portfolio, they do so because of the diversification piece to kind of mix what they have. But as you hit on that, to take a step back, you generally think of investing as this sexy, lucrative thing. Mobile homes is a great way to have not only diversification piece, but to have that, as you described the figures, the money that's coming in that certainly is going to amortize and pay for your investment, even if it isn't that sexy investment. Looking at the photo behind you, so you've written the book on this. How, besides the money, how do you convince aspiring investors or others to either diversify into this area and or something to start looking at?
Well, you're right. The item itself, the mobile home, especially the one behind me, doesn't look that sexy, but my bank account does. And you can either have a good Instagram, that live that fake book term life, or you can actually live a great life.
Bingo.
Now, I love the cash flow. That's what we're focused on. Some of my friends say we're greedy capitalists as investors, but there's people in that niche that need help. The sellers of it don't have as many investors going there and helping them. But what else is in it for us? Well, I believe they're recession resistant. Most mobile homes are in the affordable housing space, the workforce housing space. So when we have a recession, if we're in it, like you said, we can't time that or predict it. Eventually, we're right. If it's now, if it's 7 years again from now, people move down rent levels because that's what happens when you lose jobs. And in the affordable housing space is where most mobile homes are. I'm not going to repeat that cycle of not being able to pay my bills. It's one of the reasons right now I'm very heavy in the affordable housing space with the mobile homes because I want the very best person to move in and pay their rent on time so I can pay my bills on time and still continue living my life.
So I'm going to go back to where you started there, saying that your bank account looks good. That's the important thing. And that is, when you're talking investment, that's the main scorekeeper, not the Instagram account and followers. Then I want to go to the end there when you mentioned affordable housing and then having the best quality tenant. You going back to talking about living in certain areas of Tampa, you classified areas as crummy and not wanting to live there. Are you providing homes that you would qualify as places people want to live, or how are you attracting quality tenants even at a price point that might be under what might be average or median for a market?
So there's someone listening right now, probably a lot of people that are like, Mike, just say the word trailer trash. And because that's a stereotype that comes up. Hollywood, Netflix, it make fun of it. It's good for good chuckles, but it's not always true. It's like stereotypes are always not fully true. But we buy in areas that I feel safe sending my wife, my office manager, there alone at night. That is not a red blue dot on a map. You can't really tell that. So I buy in areas like that people want to live, not have to live. That's just my model. That has what have I bought in bad areas, the quote unquote crummy areas, like I said? Yeah, I made some mistakes. Luckily, I made money, but I could have easily lost money in those. That's my model with it. And we buy properties that are going to attract our blue collar handyman, handywoman that want to live there, take pride in their home, and stay a very long time and take care of it.
I really love that answer for two reasons. One, you've referred to making mistakes multiple times in our conversation. And to me, that just shows that you're someone who learns, that you're humble, and that that's part of this journey, that it is not one of these things that, kind of going back to the perception that I'm going to get started, it's all going to be positive and it's all going to be great. That there are going to be steps sideways and backwards, and then being able to learn from them is what the important part is. The other part that is really vital, not only in this conversation, but kind of leverage in general, is the want to versus need to. Is that when there is that want, when you have the ability to have options, you can make better choices and you have better outcomes. Whereas I'm in a position I need to or I must do this now, your options are limited if you have any. So being a provider in that market is really smart. And then the simple test of I've got employees, I've got family, I've got my wife, is it safe to be there at night? That makes a lot of sense. I want to change gears for a moment. You mentioned positive thinking, mental work. That's something that I think is either overlooked or undervalued or both in a lot of areas. What do you mean when you talk about mental work, and how does positivity impact your personal and professional life?
Well, thank you for asking that because I totally agree with you. It is not talked about enough and it's just not done enough. Today, I spend more time studying and doing the self help, the mindset work than I do studying the real estate. I believe real estate or any business is actually pretty easy because someone can hand you, if you copy it 100%, someone that's already successful, you'll be successful. But we stop ourselves because of our mindset. So for me, what does that look like for me? I am a very big Hal Elrod fan of the Miracle Morning. You can find a video of him and just or read his new book is coming out. I do that every morning. My version is about an hour and a half, and it primes my day to just be a happier person. To my business runs better if I do that, and I correlate the days that I don't do it. I'll listen to some good mindset stuff. YouTube is full of great stuff on there. Here, before we record this, I knew I need to have good energy and I need to be here. So I did some of my like Tony Robbins power moves. Sometimes I'll do push-ups, I'll do some sit-ups. I get the blood flowing. I'm very big in incantations. I read positive books. I'm around positive people. I try to surround I'm in a lot of masterminds, like you said in my bio. Like I'm there because I love the people. I get great ideas, but part of it is just there's a positive energy, and then it's contagious.
I knew when we first spoke that I was like, I like this guy, and there's a lot I want to talk to him about. But I mean, this really centers it for me. For a while, and probably too long, I was under the impressions like, I'm a smart guy, I'm active. Why do I need to focus on any of this stuff? And once you kind of get involved, it just opens your, and as you said, it's more important than the nuts and bolts of what you're doing most of the time, because it's how you do it, and it's surrounding yourself with other positive people who push you to be better and to look at things, not just saying ignoring things that aren't working or going back to mistakes. It's like there are bad things, they're negative, but not dwelling on them and moving forward positively. Just the last thing I'll add in here during my rambling speech. Hello, Rod. It's a hell of a story. If you're listening to this, and you're like, I don't want to listen about real estate, go pick up any of his books, go watch his YouTube videos about what he's been through and his story. It's incredible. And I saw Tony Robbins for the first time last year, and it was one of those things like, I don't get why people are so excited about this. You see the screaming crowds, and then you leave there, and it legitimately is like walking out of a rock concert. It's 4 hours of just nonstop, and it's exciting. It's like, that was amazing, and it's almost nonsensical as you talk about it, but it was incredible. And I'm with you 100% on that. We can always work on these things. An hour and a half in the morning sounds like a lot, but I'm sure it has paid incredible dividends for you in so many different areas of your life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I can talk about this actually longer than real estate because I'm so passionate. It's There's no reason to have a ton of real estate and money if you're really not happy inside. And I wouldn't have told you I wasn't happy, but now looking back, yeah, maybe I was in some denial, or and maybe I was happy. Now I'm happier. Like there's new levels and I'm sure there's new levels I'm going to get to that I don't even realize exist of happiness.
I mean, the happiness piece, and the other thing that I think that it's really helped with people that I kind of spoken with is that you identify things that make you happy, and I do more of those things, or you're drawn to the things that bring value to you and those around you, and it kind of just multiplies. Where you talk about being part of a mastermind group, that you're surrounding yourself with people who want to see others do better and kind of lift each other up. So I love it. As you said, I could easily talk about this for quite some time. But kind of getting back to the real estate piece, writing a book, that's a big deal, a best-selling book. How did you get to the point where limiting beliefs or kind of having that self to say, nope, I know enough, I'm going to put it in this book and it's going to help other people out there? How did you convince yourself, or what was that like to put that pen to paper?
Great question. No one's ever asked me that question. Oh, I do like to do things that people don't think I would do, or I think I would never do. Oh, I was in remedial classes all through school, and mainly for the English side. I still don't spell well or have good grammar. So writing a book was like the craziest thing. Like, nope, that can't. I read so few books, and the few I read were goosebump books. So writing a book was crazy. But I like, all right, it's on this crazy list of things to do. And going back to Hal Elrod, he had a ad on there for someone about a coaching group for it, and it hit me the right way, the right time, and I signed up for it because I already believed in coaching because I understood, it just accelerates the progress you're already gonna have. And I listened to them through it, and they coached me through writing it. I found I actually really love writing, so now I just write. I have a blog for that reason. It's almost therapeutic. And part of it is I learned I don't have to know how to spell. The computer will fix that. I don't have to know how to have grammar. I can, if I want, pay someone. Or now that we have Chat GBT, as I'm slowly learning, it can fix my grammar for me and my spelling for me. So I just get to do the part I love of it. And I wrote it for education. As I said, I didn't have education on mobile homes when I started. Like, all right, I want to help people out. And if I write this in a give way, it'll do well. And it has.
And then that I think is the big thing, that if it, especially in book form, in coaching, in any type of, I'm trying to help another group, that if there's any let's say, if there's any ill will or there's any kind of take in it, it's very transparent, and it never kind of usually will not work out well. But if you truly are giving away, here's what I know, here it is, the response is going to be, so much more positive, and it's going to be, man, if he's giving this away, what kind of stuff is it going to be if, we work together, if there's a coaching program, or if there's another avenue, if there's the mastermind type thing. I really want to get involved, because that accelerant, as you referenced, that it takes a set amount of time to get to where you want to go. It's a little different for everyone, but having somebody who's been there, modeling it and helping you get there, it only will get it more quickly. So I love that.
Yeah, really well said, man.
Well, thank you. Kind of looking up, we are nearing time somehow already, but talked a lot about real estate. We've talked about the ability to spend time each day to have a positive mental focus. Do you have, outside of the morning routine, do you have a typical work day, or what does a normal day look like for you?
So I moved away from the word balance for life. I've moved to the word harmony. And this is something I'm working
Ooh.
through right now of it. So my wife is a travel RN, and we kind of move around with that. And RNs work 12-hour shifts. So as we're recording this, she's finishing 6 of 8 days in a row working. So I have very heavy days there, where I do a lot of my business stuff there. The next 3 days, I would do very little business. So I don't have a typical day. Now, that morning stuff is there. Now, it may not be an hour and a half. It may be 10 minutes if it's a day that, we're doing something really together. I want to sleep in. And I'll do here and there some business stuff. But I really set my business up to serve my life. And that took years, not the other way around where I'm just serving only the business. So that's where I'm at with it today. I used to have a very rigid schedule, and that helped me get where I am today. But I learned that that's not healthy for all my relationships to be super rigid. I'm always up at 4:30 in the morning. So I'm still playing with this now. I'm still learning, the best way. I don't know what it'll be in a few months, but right now it's that harmony of uh, I don't fully like the work hard, play hard, because it sounds like work is really hard. I love what I do, and I've built it into that where I'm doing what I absolutely love.
And then that's the interesting distinction there, that it's okay to work hard, but if it feels like hard work, then perhaps it can be tweaked in a way that, if I truly like what I do, and it sounds corny, but it doesn't, I don't mind, being up early or doing this on a Saturday, or where it's like, this is something I want to do. This is something that has purpose for me. And I wrote down a few things. First, going back to the time freedom that you brought up at the beginning here, that is a constant work in progress. And that's something that you're working toward. And that wasn't the case when you started. And it's gotten there over time. So I love that kind of perspective. And the harmony, I like that, because I think of balance as that, things are, people think equals, like that's not balance either. So the harmony piece makes it sound like each day is going to look a little different. There's going to be different kind of allocations, and then keep things in harmony. So that's fantastic. kind of wrapping up here, if people are listening to us and want to connect with you, Adrian, where's the best place for them to do that, or where can they find out more?
You can go to my website, lifestyle-rei.com/1230. The numbers, not the words written out. Go there. You'll find my information there. What I really have there is a PDF, quick read, easy to help debunk more myths about mobile homes. 14 myths debunked to help upgrade your mindset so you understand that there's a lot of value there. Maybe you don't become the mobile home investor, but don't leave money on the table when someone contacts you with one and just leave it there. Help that person out, make some money, maybe you wholesale it or you just refer it to someone, have some understanding about them. And you'll get all my social media links through there. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and maybe my VAs will get me young one day and get me on TikTok or something else. But that's where you can contact me. I'm here to help.
Very nice. We will post all that for sure. And then wrapping up, Adrian, I am very good at jumping around and not following through on thoughts. So, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I probably should have during our time together?
Oh, I love that we got to jump around. In 30 minutes, we have covered a lot of great different topics. One little thing I'll leave with people, because some people may be confused with the different ways to invest in mobile homes. I'll make it quick. Three main ways to invest in them. You can own just the home, where there's rented lot rent, basically. So you own only aluminum box. You can own the mobile home park, where you own all the homes and the dirt, or you own just the dirt and people pay you lot rent every month. Or you can own the middle one, which is my favorite. It's a single unit, an individual unit, a double wide or a single wide, but it's the trailer, the mobile home, and the dirt. It's a real estate transaction. It's the most forgotten of the three of this already niched investment style. It's in the single family world, and there's a lot of them out there to help.
Thank you for going through those different models. This has been a blast. I look forward to doing it again. I wish you nothing but the best and continued success. And until next time, thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.